Howdy, my name is Natalie Chavez,
My name is Alondra Curiel.
My name is Cassie Fernandez.
and today we'll be summarizing our introduction to immunology.
To start off with the general properties of innate and adaptive immunity, they are two essential parts of the immune system and they each have the unique characteristics. The body's initial line of defense is innate immunity, which this offers quick general defense against a variety of infections. It also consists of immune cells like neutrophils and macrophages that combat uh, invaders that enter our body as well as physical barriers like the skin. And it has a constant exposure to the same infection, but it won't make it better. For adaptive immunity, it's slower to activate and it's more specialized and it involves B and T cells that can identify and react to certain antigens. The adaptive immunity builds memory and allows quicker and more intense reactions if the same pathogen comes back into the body.
Moving on, I'll be discussing the differences between innate and adaptive immunity. Some key differences of these two systems is that the innate immune system is our body's first line of defense and is nonspecific, which means it responds broadly to many pathogens without targeting any specific pathogen. So this is essentially the body's emergency response reacting immediately to a threat. And this innate immune system is present with us from birth. On the other hand, the adaptive immune system is more specialized and it has specificity. This allows for the adaptive immune system to target specific pathogens since it has the ability to recognize specific antigens and it builds due to its building memory. And it is able to respond faster and more effectively than if when some pathogens are able to come again. The adaptive immune system is divided into two parts. These two parts are the humoral and cell-mediated immunity. Humoral immunity means that it involves antibodies that are produced by our B cells, and our cell-mediated immunity are it uses immune cells to fight infections and it relies on our T cells. Moving on, how do we how do innate and adaptive immune systems work together? The key players are the antigen presenting cells or APCs. These are cells such as macrophages and dendritic cells, which are part of the innate immune system. When a pathogen, like a microbe, enters our body, it is engulfed by the innate immune cell and is digested by lysosomes as represented on the picture on the right. And the macrophage then presents these fragments to the fragments of the pathogen, which are antigens, to a molecule MHC class 2, and this gives adequate representation to our T cell. And MHC class 2 molecules are illustrated in that image as well as the one in the left. The antigen presenting is critical for activating the adaptive immune system. APCs will present the antigens to the T cells and they recognize the antigens to initiate the targeted immune response. The process ensures that communication coordination between the innate and the adaptive immunity. This makes defense against pathogens both immediate and specific. Together, they create a powerful response. So that's how the innate and adaptive immune systems work together. They present and the innate system presents its antigens to the adaptive.
The components of innate and adaptive immunity. The innate immune system, as I said before, is the first line of defense and offers quick and general protection to the body. And by identifying conserved motives known as pathogen-associated molecular patterns, or also known as PAMPs, and other indicators of cell stress or even death, it can identify infections. The skin, lungs, and guts epithelial cells are examples of its physical barriers. These create a protective contact with the surroundings, and pathogens are then continued to be blocked and neutralized by chemical barriers such as stomach acid and antimicrobial peptides. To identify and destroy these invaders, the cellular components, which are the granulocytes, monocytes, dendritic cells, macrophages, and natural killer cells, cooperate together. The immune response is guided and improved by mediators such as complement proteins and cytokines, um, as well as inflammation. This system responds quickly to protect the body. With adaptive immunity, as stated before, it remembers specific germs it has already encountered, and it helps shield the body from different illnesses. It focuses on T cells and B cells, which are among the other cell types involved. And while B cells produce antibodies to target and eliminate the germs, T cells aid in controlling the immune response and eliminate bad cells. Antigen presenting cells are specialized cells that inform T lymphocytes, which bacteria to combat. The immune system will make a memory of these pathogens for long-term protection, meaning that the body can react more quickly and efficiently the next time it comes in contact with them.
Understanding the organization of the immune system. To understand the immune system, we have to go into depth since it's a complex network of cells, tissues, and organs that work together to detect and eliminate microbes. It is divided into two specific categories, which is known as innate and adaptive immunity. The innate immune system serves as the first line of defense, as we mentioned before, providing rapid, non-specific responses to pathogens. It includes physical barriers like the skin and the mucous membranes, as well as cells like macrophages, neutrophils, and dendritic cells that recognize common microbial patterns. The adaptive immune system generates highly specific responses through lymphocytes such as B and C and B cells and T cells, which can form immunological memory for long-term protection. The cells of the immune system are organized into primary and secondary lymphoid tissues. Primary lymphoid organs, such as the bone marrow and the thymus, are where the immune cells develop and mature. For example, B cells mature in the bone marrow, while T cells mature in the thymus. Secondary lymphoid organs include the lymph nodes, spleen, mucosa-associated lymphoid tissue, which is known as MOUT, are sites where immune cells interact with antigens and become activated. This is where the body monitors invading microbes. The immune system relies on communication to coordinate responses. So in cases of antigen presenting cells like dendritic cells, they capture microbial antigens and present them to T cells in secondary lymphoid tissues. This interaction, along with signaling molecules like cytokines, and activates and directs immune cells to the site of the infection using either T helper cells and having T cells eliminate these infections. Effector mechanisms such as phagocytosis, antibody production, and cytotoxic killing by T cells work together to eliminate pathogens.
Thank you. This is the end of our introduction to the immune system. And these are our resources.